Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a truly fascinating journey together. We're going to explore exactly how a baby's vision wakes up to the world around them. It's this remarkable, rapid transformation from a comforting blur to a sharp, vibrant reality. And honestly, understanding this, it completely changes how we interact with the little ones in our lives, turning everyday moments into these powerful, brain-building connections.
I want you to just take a moment and imagine waking up in a brand new world. You have absolutely no reference points, no past experiences, no language yet. What do you actually see? Well, if we were to step directly behind a newborn baby's eyes and look out into the room, we wouldn't see crisp edges or detailed furniture. Instead, we'd see a comforting, gentle haze.
During this first phase, what we often call the fourth trimester, this visual blur isn't a deficit at all. No way, it's actually a brilliant biological design. You see, a newborn arrives with about 86 billion brain cells, just ready to be wired up. That gentle haze protects them from the overwhelming flood of new sensations in this bright, noisy world outside the womb. It helps them feel safe, keeping their world small, manageable, and deeply focused on the one thing they need most to survive and thrive: connection.
Which brings us to an incredible number, 8 to 12. In those first few weeks of life, a newborn's vision is just tightly and specifically calibrated. 8 to 12 inches is the exact distance at which their eyes can best focus. Anything beyond that simply fades right back into the soft fog of the room.
And this brilliantly illustrates why that specific distance matters for a very profound reason. 8 to 12 inches is roughly the exact distance to your face when you're feeding, rocking, or holding a baby. Biology perfectly positions the caregiver's face to be the absolute center of a newborn's universe. It's not a coincidence, it's literally the ultimate evolutionary design for building basic trust and early attachment. You are their world, quite literally.
Okay, let's dive into this timeline and see exactly how fast this visual awakening happens. We start at birth with that cozy 8 to 12-inch focus, and over the next few months, we're going to track the journey to their first sustained eye contact, right up to when visual tracking completely transforms how they interact with their environment.
Section 1, 6 to 8 weeks. The fog lifts. So here we're transitioning out of the purely reflexive newborn stage, where they're really just managing their temperature and hunger. At around 6 to 8 weeks, their vision sharpens just enough to make genuine, sustained eye contact with you. And because they can finally see you clearly, this is when we get the heart-melting arrival of the first intentional social smile. They aren't just reacting to a physical reflex or a full tummy anymore, you know? They are looking right at you, recognizing your familiar face, and smiling back specifically to get your attention. It's the true beginning of back-and-forth communication.
Section 2, 2 to 3 months, expanding horizons.
As we hit this 2 to 3 month mark, the baby's visual world gets bigger, wider, and, well, a whole lot more exciting. Babies begin visually tracking moving faces and toys up to a full 90 degrees. And because they're practicing tummy time, pushing up on their little forearms, and strengthening those tiny neck muscles, their visual field dramatically widens. They can now follow a favorite high-contrast toy or your face as you move across the room in this wide, sweeping arc. Their vision and their motor skills are finally teaming up.
Now, what's really interesting here is the monumental cognitive leap that happens. As their vision sharpens to focus on nearer objects, they make a mind-blowing discovery: their own hands. They suddenly recognize these fascinating tools attached to the ends of their arms. They'll hold them up, study them closely, bring them to their mouth, and realize, wow, I have actual control over my environment. It's their very first real step toward reaching and grasping the world around them.
So this brings us to a beautiful, practical question, right? Now that we understand how they see and how this visual awakening unfolds, how do we actively support it? The most empowering takeaway from our source text is that you really don't need fancy apps, flashcards, or expensive gadgets. As a caregiver, you are already the baby's absolute most advanced learning tool. Let's break down this incredibly simple, everyday visual curriculum. These are completely zero-cost habits that naturally support their visual and cognitive development without adding any extra stress to your schedule. First, get face-to-face often. Let them really study you. Second, practice serve and return communication. When they look and coo, just smile, pause, and talk back in a warm voice. Third, offer simple, high-contrast black and white images during calm moments to invite that visual tracking. And finally, hold a toy at focusing distance and move it slowly side to side so they can practice that 90-degree tracking. You know, getting down on the floor is one of the most powerful things you can do. It immediately brings your face, which is, again, their absolute favorite visual stimulus, right into their perfect viewing range. Plus, floor time gives them the safe space and gross motor freedom they need to eventually roll and reach, all while feeling completely emotionally secure, because you are right there on their level.
And if you want a specific, totally joy-filled activity to try today, it's all about the mirror game. The steps are so wonderfully simple. Step 1, hold your baby in front of a mirror. Step 2, point to their reflection and say warmly, "Who's that? That's you." And Step 3, smile and wave. Babies are absolutely captivated by faces, including the one that copies them in the glass. This beautifully supports their visual focus while planting the very earliest seeds of self-awareness.
So, the crucial point is perfectly summarized by this profoundly reassuring quote from our source material. Teaching a baby isn't adding something to your day, it's paying attention to the day you're already having. I love this because it should lift any burden of performance completely off your shoulders. You don't need a rigid schedule or a formal curriculum. Just by being present, smiling, talking, and letting them see you as you go about your daily routines, you are doing the absolute most essential brain-building work.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to challenge you with a question to carry into your day. What new details will you notice the next time your baby looks at you? Try to remember that incredible blur-to-clear journey happening right behind their eyes. Bring this fresh, wonder-filled perspective into your very next interaction, and watch as their world and yours comes into beautiful, sharp focus. Thanks for exploring this amazing journey with me.